Welcome to another episode of Pathway to Purpose. I wanted to jump in here, and I'm using a new tablet here, so just bear with me. So, this is going to be titled Men Stop Fighting Yourself and Lead from the Inside Out. It's when pressure used to work, but it's not working anymore. For a long time, it helped. You may have felt like you pushed harder, you stayed disciplined, you outworked your doubt, and it worked until it didn't. And I now see men that are capable, and that same pressure that once sharpened them is really now causing a little bit more challenges. And it's really showing up in some subtle ways and maybe some large ways. It's really interesting. It's may not be so dramatic in others, but it often ends in a place where men are really asking for some help. But what I've noticed is this subtle internal way that's hard to explain, but it's impossible to ignore. And I want you to know this up front. It's not weakness. It's awareness waking up inside of you. But we view it as weakness, right? So when strength starts to feel heavy, from the outside, you look solid, but you show up and you look like you're handling everything and you carry everything without complaining. But on the inside, something feels heavier or not so good. Decisions take more energy. You replay conversations in your head. You hesitate where you once trusted yourself. And you keep pushing, but the return doesn't land the same way. The results still come, maybe, right? They just don't come with that internal reward that it used to. And that disconnect, that's the signal most men ignore. So what successful men actually want? So the men I work with aren't really looking for hacks. They're not asking for, hey, I need some motivation, maybe a little here and there. They're not trying to stop achieving, because achievement is awesome, and growing and developing and becoming a high performer, What they want more now is more simple and deeper. They want clarity under pressure so decisions land without that mental drag. They want sustained presence, steady energy for the family, for themselves, and in their work. And aligned performance. I call it aligned performance. It's winning without losing themselves. They don't want less responsibility. They want to stop fighting themselves while they're carrying it. So the symptoms and things that men don't talk about, and I just want to throw this out here. And this is how it actually kind of shows up. You're holding strength through suppression, not choice. You feel guilt when you slow down. You fear looking weak if those cracks show, the cracks in your armor, or if you're feeling like things aren't showing up right. This low-grade anxiety that kind of blurs your clarity. You're trying identity to accomplish. Like, let me be more of this, and certain identity things that I love to talk to guys about. The burnout cycles disguised as productivity. Your partners are carrying a lot of emotional weight, the wife and the girlfriend. You feel a little lonely, maybe at the top or in the middle. You avoid honesty just to keep functioning, or you avoid honesty to keep the peace or keep everything okay so things don't crack in some other place. Kind of this low-level shame around needing help. Like, I could do this. And you're going to hear me talk about that a lot. So if you recognize something in yourself here, there's nothing wrong. It just means that pressure has been doing much of the work. On the outside versus the inside here. So on the outside, he's got it together. But on the inside, I can't let anyone see how close I am to cracking or not being so good. I don't want to say like unraveling. It's kind of a term I see out there. But it's that gap between appearance and experience is where most men get stuck. Not because they're weak. It's just because they're playing by a playbook or an outdated model of what strength should be. So some of the questions that men don't say out loud. This is something that's really interesting. At some point, these questions surface. Am I losing kind of my edge? What's going on here? Or if I slow down, will everything kind of fall apart? Or what will happen? Or I'll have to look inside, or I don't know, right? All that stuff comes, right? Who can I trust with what I don't say out loud? These questions aren't weakness. They're just awareness, trying to bring things out. So I just want to let you know that. Like, there's this inner guy playbook I love to talk to people about, right? It's like, there's this mysterious thing like what I think I need to be a guy, or what a guy thinks. And so it's not genuine, it's not authentic, but this is what goes on, and this is what I've grown to do. And many men actually don't know. Men inherently are fixers, and the thing that they need to fix is the biggest challenge, themselves, right? Like, how do I fix myself? And this keeps this cycle of like, I could do this on my own. I got this. I've seen this, and the biggest challenge they have, I say this so much in my work, is asking for help and connecting with others. And men often ask me, how do I change this? But before real change can happen, one belief has to say, is you don't need to do more. Is we think we need to do more. Let's read more books, listen to more podcasts, be more performance-based, like proving. Like, that's the huge thing that men do. Pressure can change behavior temporarily, but over time it just kind of fractures or your identity, who you think you are. And when that identity fractures, no amount of that discipline is going to fix it. That's why men are telling me they feel like they lost their purpose, or there's the meaning, and they're just going along. And there's some fear about taking some steps in a new direction that I often see a lot. So the work I do is just helping men reconnect to that purpose and meaning. That's what I do. And that's what I love to do. And in this podcast, I just wanted to bring this level of awareness. What men are taught isn't really working. And a lot of the industry out there is really a lot of more stoicism, which I love stoicism. I'm not knocking it by any stretch. But more like, let me do more. Let me just be alive. And I think there's important parts to that. I think like, hey, I need to push myself physically. I need to challenge and do hard things. I do think that. Like, I do think that there's a benefit to that. So I'm not saying it's not. But what the myth is that if I push harder, that I'll get through. And you'll get through in situations. But has pushing harder worked in the end? Like, it gets us to a point. The truth is that pressure really compounds that fracture of identity. It just compounds it. And more integration restores that grounded strength. So that's one myth. The myth, too, is like they believe, or I should handle this alone. Lone wolves die, right? Like, they need their pack. So mentorship and connection accelerates inner authority. It helps to open up. And a lot of my theory, the restorative masculine integration theory, which you may have seen, really talks about how this is helpful. And I'm a huge fan of men's groups and men getting together and really opening up and just talking. It's great. So myth too, like therapy, which I think therapy is awesome, or tougher coaching. Let me tough it out is the only fix. And I believe in coaching and I believe in therapy, but I think when things are taken at extremes, it becomes a challenge. So really the work beneath the performance creates an embodiment. And, I'm not talking about embodiment, more of connection to ourselves that lasts. And this is the work that men aren't often shown. So I've talked about this I have a new type of performance that I call aligned performance. And it starts to align this inner performance. So it's not this push-prove pressure, but it's an alignment and grounded. So this work actually, it doesn't motivate behavior. It doesn't add more armor. We don't need more of that. I help men kind of restore that alignment beneath the performance. And the progression is simple. It goes from awareness, integration into embodiment, meaning it incorporating it into your world and your life. And so some of that internal noise and chaos kind of collapses into more of a structure and inner alignment. And reactivity decreases as the nervous system settles. Forced outcomes are replaced by consistent, grounded results. That's what I find helps people. And it's not this weird techie thing. It's experiential. It's integrated. It's becoming more of who you are. It's applied work. And after some, over the years of men who have really carried this responsibility, myself included, I've learned how to help others. And this is why change feels faster and it lasts longer. So, if you're listening to this podcast, comment wherever you're listening to, if you can. If you're watching it on YouTube, you'll see this new camera. Hopefully it came through right. But if this resonates with you, and at the time of this, I want to invite you to a 4-week virtual experience. It's called Stop Fighting Yourself and Start Leading from the Inside Out. And it's for men who are done battling with themselves, ready to lead with clarity and strength and purpose. So you're going to gain tools that impact your leadership, your business, your relationships, and your inner clarity. It's all together. I think people, men in particular, like silo parts of their lives. And that is not, it's all integrated together. So I wanted to definitely invite you, and you will see it in the show notes here. And if you're listening to this past the recording and past the time that this goes live, there'll be a recorded program that you'd be able to do. Just reach out to me or my team, and you'll be able to access it. But I wanted to get on here and just share some of this stuff today as we go through, just more of a challenging time. More men are reaching out, which is a great thing. The one thing that I want to stress is reach out. Don't wait until something happens. I find that most men are like, something dramatic happens in their life. They lost a job. They lost their spouse. Either there's a divorce or maybe some infidelity. Their relationship just doesn't feel good anymore. And what we do is we blame the other person. And in reality, we haven't looked inside to be that leader. And I'm going to leave you with this. G.S. Youngblood, who's he writes in the men's space and does a lot of work. Great guy. I want to give him a lot of credit. Is he says, whether it's your fault or not, you're the solution. And I love that because it's about that when we step into our masculine more, not in a toxic way, not like there's toxic masculinity, is toxic femininity, that like anything in the extreme, right? And I believe that the toxic stuff shows up in ways where the wounds start to show up. And I always use this men's playbook that guys try to force fit on themselves. But it's when you start to have that alignment on the inside, that self-leadership, it actually is more attractive to our partners. Like you're starting to lead. You're not coming from a blame and it's their fault. They need to make me feel better. Like this is the work that's awesome. And also this is our careers, our professions. Like all of this stuff seeps into everything. We could be better leaders in our careers, in our businesses, and in our families for sure. So anyway, thank you for tuning in to this amazing episode. I'm saying it's amazing because I think it is. So comment below. I'd love to hear your comments. And if you have any questions, reach out, toddangelucci.com. And you could find me on the socials. Have a great day.